We are now just weeks away from the Winter Olympics in Milan, and yet the camera that was supposed to define an entire generation of professional photography is nowhere to be seen. And what we are getting instead from Nikon is not hype, not teasers, not leaks, but complete and total silence. And that silence surrounding the Nikon Z90 II is getting louder with every passing day. Because for a company that once dominated headlines with the revolutionary Z9, this delay feels either like a catastrophic failure behind the scenes or a sign that something so ambitious is being built that it simply was not ready to be shown to the world. Every supply chain whisper and every authentic insider report to answer the one question that is burning in the mind of every working professional photographer right now. Is the Nikon Z90 II already dead before arrival? Or is it quietly preparing to reshape the industry forever? Because let's be honest for a moment. When the original Z9 launched, it was not just another flagship. It was a statement. It was Nikon standing up and reminding the world that they still knew how to innovate at the highest level, removing the mechanical shutter entirely, and replacing it with a fully electronic system that worked so well it embarrassed competitors who were still clinging to old technology. And it was a bold move that paid off. But in the world of technology, 4 years might as well be a decade. And now, in early 2026, the competitive landscape has become absolutely brutal. Sony has democratized global shutter technology with the A9 III. Canon has finally unleashed the R1 into real-world workflows. And suddenly Nikon is no longer the uncontested king of speed and reliability. And the pressure to deliver a true successor to the Z9 is heavier than any 600 f4 lens a sports photographer has ever carried. Which brings us to the biggest mystery of all. Where is it? Because historically flagship cameras are synchronized with global sporting events, especially the Olympics, and missing that window is not an accident. It is a signal, and that signal tells us that either Nikon hit a serious technological wall or made a conscious decision to delay in pursuit of something much bigger. And according to multiple independent supply chain analysts and manufacturing partners, key components related to next-generation sensor fabrication and image processing pipelines have faced repeated delays, particularly in areas related to high-speed data throughput and thermal management. And when you put all of that together, it becomes increasingly clear that the most realistic release window has now shifted to late 2026. And that kind of delay does not happen because of incompetence. It happens because of ambition. Because you do not postpone a flagship unless you are trying to perfect technology that simply is not stable enough yet to ship to thousands of professionals who rely on it for their livelihoods. And that brings us directly to the heart of the Z90 II project, the rumored X8 processor. Because while the current X7 chip inside the Z9 is still powerful, it is operating near its physical limits. And to compete in a world where smartphones and cameras are integrating dedicated AI accelerators, Nikon needs a completely new computational backbone. And the X8 is not just about raw speed. It is about real-time computational photography that happens before the raw file is even finalized. We're talking about autofocus calculations running hundreds of times per second, predictive subject analysis, real-time noise mapping, dynamic exposure optimization, and intelligent highlight recovery happening instantaneously as an athlete sprints through a snowstorm or a football player dives for a touchdown. And this is the level of performance the Z90 II is aiming for, because in modern photography, speed is no longer just about frames per second. It is about how quickly your camera can think. And that brings us to the sensor, which is arguably the most controversial and debated aspect of this entire project. Because the industry is currently split between global shutter evangelists and stacked CMOS loyalists, Sony went all in on global shutter and eliminated rolling shutter entirely, making flash synchronization and fast motion capture effortless. But that technology still comes with compromises in dynamic range and base ISO performance. And Nikon has historically prioritized image quality above almost everything else. Which is why most credible insiders now believe the Z90 II will not feature a pure global shutter, but instead a hyperstacked or hybrid stacked sensor design with such extreme readout speeds that rolling shutter becomes practically invisible to the human eye, while preserving the deep shadow recovery and highlight headroom that landscape, portrait, and commercial photographers depend on. And if Nikon can pull that off, it may represent the best of both worlds. And then there is resolution. Another battlefield entirely. Because while the Z9's 45 megapixels remains a near-perfect balance, the market is steadily moving upward, and persistent rumors since late 2025 have pointed to a 60-megapixel sensor. And if Nikon manages to deliver 60 megapixels with the same low-light performance and color depth as the current Z9, it would be an engineering achievement of the highest order. Positioning the Z9 II as both a studio powerhouse and a sports machine, clearly separating it from the Z8, which would then serve as the compact flagship alternative. But higher resolution comes with heavier files, higher bandwidth requirements, and massive processing demands, meaning that X8 processor would need to operate at unprecedented efficiency to maintain 20 to 30 frames per second raw bursts without overheating or choking the buffer. And this is where Nikon's recent acquisition of Red Digital Cinema becomes absolutely crucial, because this was never just a financial transaction, it was a technology transfer, a knowledge injection, and a cultural shift toward high-end video engineering. And the Z9 II will be the first flagship designed fully under the influence of Red's imaging philosophy, which opens the door to features that were once unimaginable in a mirrorless stills camera, including internal REDCODE RAW recording, authentic red color science, advanced compression algorithms, and workflows that integrate seamlessly into Hollywood post-production pipelines. And if Nikon delivers true red RAW internally in a weather-sealed mirrorless body, it immediately becomes the default B camera for major film productions, documentary crews, and commercial studios, potentially disrupting the cinema camera market itself. And beyond that, we are also hearing consistent whispers about improved 12-bit pipelines, expanded dynamic range in video mode, and open gate recording that uses the full sensor height, allowing creators to shoot once and crop for horizontal, vertical, and square formats without sacrificing quality, which is increasingly important in a social media-driven world. And while the Z9 is already a video powerhouse, the Z9 II could redefine what hybrid cameras are capable of, especially if the rumored 8K at 60 frames per second is confirmed. And even more so if Nikon somehow manages to enable 8K at 120 frames per second with advanced heat dissipation systems inspired by Red's thermal engineering, which would be a monumental achievement. And when we shift our attention to the physical design, it becomes clear that Nikon is not trying to reinvent ergonomics, because professionals value consistency, and the Z9's tank-like build is beloved for its durability and balance with long lenses. So do not expect a smaller body. If anything, the grip may become deeper and more sculpted, and feedback from working photographers has already influenced rumored refinements in button placement, improved tactile differentiation, and possibly even illuminated buttons similar to the legendary D6, which night shooters and event photographers still miss dearly. And the electronic viewfinder is also due for a major upgrade, because while the current EVF is fast and blackout-free, its resolution lags behind Sony's best offerings, and the Z9 II is widely expected to adopt a 9.44 million dot panel that delivers a near-optical viewing experience, where what you see feels less like a screen and more like looking directly at reality. And that matters when you are tracking fast subjects for hours at a time. And then there is the software side, where artificial intelligence is no longer optional. And for Nikon, this means pushing autofocus from recognition to prediction, because the Z9 already identifies people, animals, vehicles, and aircraft. But the Z9 II is expected to understand context and intent, recognizing game patterns, player movements, and subject behavior, allowing it to pre-focus on likely action points before they even happen, effectively giving photographers a technological sixth sense. And this kind of predictive AI could redefine sports and wildlife photography by dramatically increasing keeper rates. But all of this innovation comes at a cost, and that cost will be reflected in the price, because the original Z9 shocked the market with its aggressive pricing, undercutting rivals while delivering flagship performance. But those days are likely over, and with inflation, supply constraints, and Red integration, analysts are projecting a launch price between $6,000 and $6,500, which is undeniably steep. But when you consider that the Z92 could replace your stills body, your cinema camera, and your high-speed video rig, the overall value proposition remains compelling for professionals. And that leads us to the ultimate question: should you wait? And the honest answer is that if you are earning money with your camera today, the Z9 is still more than capable and remains about 95% of what most shooters will ever need. It is far from obsolete. But if you are an enthusiast chasing the cutting edge or a hybrid creator who needs red codecs, open gate, and next-gen AI autofocus, then the Z92 will almost certainly be worth the wait, even if that wait is frustrating. Because missing the Olympics is undeniably a marketing failure, but Nikon has always been a company driven by engineers rather than advertisers, and they would rather arrive late with perfection than early with compromise. And everything we are seeing suggests that the Z92 is being built not just as a successor, but as a statement. It will be heavy, it will be expensive, and it will be uncompromising. And that silence from Nikon is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is the calm before the storm. And now the conversation shifts to you, because does the lack of a true global shutter kill the hype? Or do you value dynamic range and color depth more? And how much are you really willing to pay for a camera like this? Where does your personal price ceiling sit? Because these are the questions that will ultimately determine how successful the Z92 becomes. So let's get that debate going. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this deep dive helped you. And as always,